Good evening, sir. I'm on. Yes. So shall I start? Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. So I hope you all are ready for the session. Yes, ma'am. How many of you have downloaded today the R? Okay. 2. Okay.
I have.
3. I hope all of you have downloaded, right? Because without R, it's hands-on session. So you have downloaded it, it will be a good thing. You can practice along with me. Otherwise, afterwards, it will be difficult for you if you are new for the coding. If you are not having the coding background, right? So shall I start the session for the day? Only 13 participants, 14, including me and Yograj sir. It means only 13, 14 people have joined. So shall I start, right? I hope you all are okay. May I start the session?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So yesterday, can anyone tell me what I discussed?
Intro to R and hands-on R and R Studio.
Yes.
The data types.
Yes.
Ma'am, you have discussed how to create variables on RStudio and the various operations like addition, multiplication, and various data types with the help of RStudio, how to create it.
Very good. Means it is clear what I discussed yesterday, and I hope those who have not performed along with me, they practiced it also after downloading and installing the R and RStudio, right? I'll take you a step ahead today, and we'll discuss further things. I think agenda is with all of you. You all are having the this flyer of the FDP, so you are knowing what I'm going to discuss today. So give me a second. Firstly, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah. So I think just a minute. I shared my screen. I hope it's visible. Visibility is there, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we have did all these things. We have understood the environment of R and RStudio yesterday. We have seen all the 4 screens of RStudio. We have seen how to create variable in R, and we have seen various kind of data types, and we have created various variables of those data types yesterday. Also, we have performed some of the arithmetic operations on the variables, right? On the numeric variables. We'll go a step ahead. Yesterday, one of you has asked me, ma'am, what if we want to store more than one value, right? So we will try to do that today. So suppose I am writing here X, right? And this time I want to store more than one value in R, right? Right? Like this. What I did, I have written name of my variable X. In using this assignment sign, I want to store 1, 2, and 3 in X, right? I am pressing Control Enter, or maybe I can click on this run icon. You can see once I did that, I am getting an error in the console. It is saying unexpected, that comma symbol, right? In X assigned as, or 1 is assigned as or 1 is assigned to the X, right? So that means it is only accepting this much from here to here. After that, remaining is not understood by the R environment, right? So that is a problem. So how you can resolve this problem? So for resolving this problem, we are having the solution in the form of data structures, right? So what are data structures? Data structures are nothing, but these are the way to store multiple values or data points in any object.
Excuse me, ma'am, the screen that you are presenting वो छोटी हो गई है.
Sorry?
The screen that you are presenting वो screen छोटी हो गई है.
छोटी हो गई है
means उसका size वो हो गया है like.
मैम आप उस पर जाके डबल क्लिक कर दीजिए, हो जाएगा वापस.
हाँ.
I hope you resolved the problem, ma'am.
Not yet.
Okay. Do I need to share my screen again? I hope it's visible to everyone in a proper manner, proper proportion. Shall I continue?
No, ma'am, it's not visible in.
Okay. Have you pinned my screen or not, ma'am? You need to pin my screen.
Okay, ma'am, it's fine now.
Are you able to see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Working. I am here, right? I have written here. Nothing. I have explaining you the meaning of data structures. I said these are this is a way of storing multiple values or the data points in any object, right? Of any type. Any type means the type we have seen, like it can be numeric or it can be integer or etc. Right? And means they can be in any type or maybe in the combination of the various data types also. So if we are talking about data structures are the we can say it's a facility in the R environment which is helping us or which is allowing us to store multiple data points, right? The data points can be of any type. Maybe it can be of same type. Maybe it can be of the mixed type also. So these are known as the data structures. I hope the concept is clear of data structure.
Yes.
Any confirmation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Further, we need to see what are the various kinds of data types available, data structures available in R. So these are vector, list, vector, matrix, array, and data grids. So these are the 6 kind of data structures available. Using these different data structures, we can store multiple values in these, right? And that way we can serve our purpose of the analysis of the data, right? Because we know whenever we are saying data, so data is not an indivisible entity. It's not an indivisible data point. We are having the multiple data points, and that way we need to understand the concept of data structures in R, right? So we will discuss all 6 one by one. Today I will take first 3, vector, list, and vector. And then from tomorrow we will see the remaining 3, and then we will come to the next part of this FDP. So firstly, when I talk about the vector. Vectors are what? These are nothing but these are the data structures which are homogeneous and one-dimensional. Meaning is very simple. That means homogeneous meaning is what? Means the vector is a kind of data structure which can hold only the same kind of data points. Say for example, if I am saying this.
Excuse me, madam. Excuse me, madam. I am not seeing the PowerPoint. I am seeing only your face. I want to see the screen. What you are typing?
Sir, I think you need to pin my screen. I have shared the R Studio. I hope R Studio is visible.
Oh, I am using only my mobile phone. I have to use laptop. I have to use laptop.
No. In the mobile phone also you need to pin my screen. You need to click on my screen. That way you need to go in the participant list and find my name. You need to pin my screen.
Okay, participant. Okay, thank you, madam. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Yeah. So I hope I can continue.
Continue, madam. Okay.
Yeah. So I was discussing about vectors are nothing but these are the data structures which are homogeneous in nature. That means these vectors can store the same kind of data points. That means there can be a numeric vector, there can be a character vector, there can be a logical value vector. So that way all the data types which we have seen yesterday, accordingly we can create different kind of vectors. Second thing, vectors are one dimensional. That means either they can be in store data in particular, they can be store data in only one direction. It can be row wise or it can be column wise. These are not 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional or n-dimensional. Vectors are only one dimension, right? So this is the main specialty of the vector. Now we need to understand what are the methods using that we can create vectors, right? So now I'll discuss the methods of creating vectors. Number one is, or directly I'm writing, the C function, concatenate function is there. Then there is a sequence function. Then there is the colon method. Then there is a function called REP, that is the repeat kind of function. So these are the ways of creating vectors in R. So I'll explain or discuss all the methods one by one. Firstly, when I talk about the C function, right? C function meaning is concatenate. C stands for concatenate, right? That means it is adding. So that is why we can say it's concatenate function. Now I am writing the object name where I want to store all the different values, or I want to write the name of my vector. So suppose I'm creating the first vector with the name v1. Here I am storing the values inside the C function, right? So I think you know function meaning is we have already seen, I think many of you have already worked in the Excel. It is very common software. So we all know in Excel also there are certain functions, and functions meaning are these are the predefined kind of things in the particular environment, and that way whatever is the programming done for those functions, they work accordingly. So concatenate function, that is C function, it is adding those elements and putting in one particular place, right? So in C, I am writing certain values like this. I stored, suppose 6 values in the V1 using the C function. So now you can see once I'm pressing Control Enter, I'm not getting any error. Whereas once I stored the values directly without the C function, here you can see in the console, we were getting an error here, right? But in case of C function, we are not getting an error. So now if I am typing V1, I want to see what I stored in the V1. I can type V1 and then I can press Control Enter. And that way it is showing me this is stored in the variable, in the vector 1, that is V1. Is it clear? I hope very simple. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is, I'm writing, this is your numeric vector. Only thing you need to pay attention here is that C is in the small caps, right? It should not be a upper caps word. It is a small cap. That way, if you are writing in the capitals, if you are writing it as a capital C, it will give you an error, right? So this is the precaution you need to take. R is case sensitive language. Moving towards the next thing. If I want to create a character vector, so if I want to use the character vector, what I need to do, create, so I'm writing a new name, it's V2, and then using the C function, Anyone can tell me what I need to do now if I want to create a character vector or text vector? Suppose I want to write the name of 5 persons. I want to store the name of 5 persons. What I need to do here? How I will write? Anyone?
Just put the string in double quotes.
Very good. So here I am typing either in a single quote or in a double quote. So suppose I am writing, I don't know how many, whatever names are coming in my mind. So double quote also I can use. There is no problem, right? Up to us, the way we want to write. But the thing is only, if at one side we are keeping a single quote, at the end of that particular word, I need to keep a single quote. It is not like it will be a combination. Means in the Radha, if I'm using here initially a single quote and ending it by the double quote, it is not permissible, right? It is not permitted in the R environment, right? Clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So suppose I have stored 4 names. I am pressing Control Enter, and that way you would be able to see we have successfully created a character vector. If you want to see the values, you can call the vector by the name. Then, so this is a character vector. Similarly, if I want to create a vector for the logical values or logical vector, so I can use C function, and then suppose I am writing true, false, F, T, T, F, etc. It is possible, right? Pressing Control Enter, you can see no error we are getting. Calling V3, so it is coming as true, false, false, true, true, false. Clear? I hope clear. Speed and the pace is okay. I hope you are cope up. Able to cope up, I hope, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So, coming back, talking about the next thing. Now, if I want to create a vector of integer, right? So suppose I am writing integer vector. Can anyone tell me how I can specify that these values are integer in any vector? What I need to do here is special, different thing I need to do here.
Capital L.
Capital L, very correct. So suppose I'm writing 10L, 29L, 32L, then suppose 41L, etc. Pressing Control Enter, and you can see no error you are getting. You can call your vector. It is showing you the values. It has removed the L, but in the environment of R, it has stored that B4 is the integer vector because we have kept L after each and every value or observation, right? Now, we'll come to the next thing. I think one more thing I'll tell you, that is the complex, because I discussed complex also. Although we are not using this, but still, I'm just in a few seconds I'm explaining this also. Suppose V5 I'm creating. So it is 2 minus 3i, like 4 plus 2i, then 3 minus 4i, etc. Then it's V5. This is complex. Now, yesterday we were talking about this L type of thing, right? So I will talk today about few functions also, which I think I have not discussed yesterday. Suppose I want to check the class or the type of my vector, right? So suppose I am writing here the class of my vector V1, right? Pressing Control Enter, it is returning me numeric. Whereas when I'm writing the class of my vector V4, it is returning me integer. So now you can see here, this vector V1, I stored all the values which were integer, I hope, right? Right, everyone? Any confirmations? I hope you are listening.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes. So here we can see these are the integer figures only, but if we are not putting capital L, in that case, it will be treated as a numeric. But once I have kept capital L after each and every value, it is giving me its type as integer. Getting me?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Similarly, you can check for V2 also, it is character, and you can check for V3 also, which is logical, and lastly for the V5, which is complex. Done. Done.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now, moving ahead, talking about the method 2, which is colon method, right? So using colon method, generally how we can create a vector. So suppose I am giving the name as VEC vector, right? And colon means we all know, suppose I have written here, suppose 13 colon 28, suppose, right? So that means it will create a vector with the start, means the first value of the vector will be 13 and the last value will be 28. And with the help of, with the gap of 1, 1, 1, it will create the, restore the value in this particular vector. So you can see it is executed successfully. I am calling it to see the figures. It is storing 13, 14, 15, 16 up to 28. Right, everyone? Clear?
Yes, madam.
Right. Now we will move ahead. In this method, I think there is nothing much to talk about, but yes.
So if we have to exclude some number in this series between 13 to 28, I want to exclude, let's say, 25. So can we do that as well?
Using colon method, we can't. Because colon is it's a kind of sequencer.
Okay.
In a particular continuity, it is taking that. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it can only be used for continuous series.
Yes. Means where the increment is by 1.
1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when I am writing vector 1, I have written -2 to 5. So it is -2 to 5. So when I am calling it vector 1, it is showing me this -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So minus values also you can store. It's not like that. Further, we'll talk about the next method. And the method name is the sequence function. Right? So suppose I am writing the new vector, suppose B6, and using the SEQ sequence function, just a minute, in the bracket, I am writing 2, 7, and then I am writing by equal 0.5. Meaning is, I want to create a vector in that the starting value should be 2, end value should be 7, and the value should increase by 0.5, right? Pressing enter. So it is executed without an error, and then you can find this is the way of creating a sequence series, right? Then clear, everyone? Without by also you can create the vector using sequence. Suppose when I will means in that case it will be very similar to the colon method. Suppose I have written B6 sequence 2, 7. I'm not defining by is what, means by how much the value should increase. Next value will increase by how much. I'm not explaining or not giving any instruction for this. So by default it will take 1, right? So this way this will be like this, right? I hope clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, the last method. using the REP, repeat function. Suppose creating a new vector V7, and then I am writing REP. Suppose I have written 4:7 and I have written 2. Now, once I will call V7, you can see it is meaning is this: I want to create a vector in which there will be values from 4 to 7, and these values should be repeated twice. So it is 4, 5, 6, 7, then again 4, 5, 6, 7. It has created a set of 4 to 7 2 times. Right? Clear?
Clear, madam.
Now, one more variation is possible in the rep function. Suppose I have written 4:7 and then I have written each equals 2. So this way you can see what it will do for us. It is giving me 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. Means each of the value in this range will be repeated twice like this. Right? Clear? May I explaining further?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Further, again I am writing 4:7. Suppose I have written times equal 3. And once I will call my V9, you can see it is 3 times writing this. Means this 2 is nothing but this is times. Right? Right? I think there is one more option available. I need to see. I think it is it is working. So meaning is see, but it is not working the way I want because spelling is wrong. Yeah. Now you can see it is length dot out. Meaning is what? I want to create a vector. There should be values only between 4 to 7, but total 12 values I'm asking. So it is 4, 5, 6, 7. It is repeated to meet this length, that is 12. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So this way, these are the variations or varieties available for creating vector in our environment, right? And you have seen all the creations which we have done here, they are showing you in the global environment also. So this way, this is vector. Now we will see indexing. Firstly, we will understand the concept of indexing, and then we will see how we can use indexing in the vectors, right? So indexing is what? Indexing is nothing but it is a position, at what position which value has stored, right? So it is only indicating you the position of elements or values, right? So if suppose this is only an example I'm giving you, suppose I stored 3, 5, 9, 10, 4, 29 something, right? So these are the few figures or few values are stored in any vector. So index meaning index will start from 1, and you can write here. It starts from 1 in R, right? So if I want to say the index means whatever vector I created, suppose V1 I created. So in V1, if I'm asking 1, so 1 is the position of the 3. If I'm saying 4, so 4 is the position of number 10. Is it clear? So that is indicating you the position of a particular element. This is helping us to extract any particular element from that particular object, right? So how we can use this indexing type of facility in R? So we need to see this. Suppose I'll again create a vector using a C function. Suppose I'm storing few figures here. Then pressing Control Enter. I want to see at fourth position of my vector what has stored. So I am using this time. You can see there is a difference in the bracket. Previously, to create a vector, we were using this round bracket. This is nothing. This is generally using in case of functions. But when we are talking about the positions, we need to use this square bracket, right? So you can press Enter and it is returning you 10. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. At fourth position, 10 has stored here. Is it clear? So that way we can select a particular element. Is it clear, everyone?
Clear, madam.
Now, suppose I want to manipulate my vector. I want to store some other value at any particular position. Suppose maybe this is a vector of marks of the students, right? And maybe with the typing mistake, I entered something wrong. And then afterwards, I realized, or maybe students has complained me that my value or my marks are not stored correctly. So I need to change this, right? So how I can do that? So firstly, I need to know the position. So suppose I am knowing at the fifth position, I have entered the wrong value. So what I need to do? I need to take the name of the vector. After that, I need to write the position in the bracket, in the square bracket. And then whatever value I want to store, that I can store. Suppose I'm writing 50 or maybe 59, right? Pressing Control N. So this way you can see no error you are getting. Now you can call your vector and you can check at the fifth position instead of 49. Now we are having 59, right? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, if I want to sort, means sorting meaning is what? We can arrange the figures in the ascending or the descending order, right? So for example, I want to sort my vector V1. You can see it is short. Then sorting is done. This sorting is by default. This sort function is arranging my data elements into the ascending order, right? What if I want to arrange in the elements in the descending order? I need to write decreasing. I think it's decrease. I need to check what it is. Decrease equals to true. I have no. It's decreasing. Yeah. Right? Fine, everyone. Decreasing is equals to true. You need to do. So that way all the elements are arranged into the descending order. Fine, everyone.
Ma'am, can you repeat line number 120 again?
120. Okay. I said I want to replace any of the value of the created vector, right? So I create this vector at the fifth position. I stored 49. Suppose I want to replace 49 by 59. So I know 49 is at the fifth position. What I did, I have written here V1 in brackets. I have written 5. So I have used here the square bracket to access the position at fifth position. Whatever I have stored, I want to replace it by the 59. So then I am assigning at this position, I am assigning 59. So that I did. And once I have done this, I am calling my vector to check. So you can check here in the output, you can find at the fifth position. Here it is 49 and now it is coming as 59.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
There was a glitch in the network, that's why.
No issues, sir. No issues. It is clear to everyone, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, madam. Clear. Concept clear.
Yes. So this way, this is known as the indexing, and sorting also I have explained. Further, if we want to perform arithmetic operations on vectors. It is also possible. We need to see this. We'll see. Suppose I think V1 I already created. I need to tell you one thing here. Suppose I am taking V2. So I can perform arithmetic operations, which is quite obvious, on the numeric vectors only, right? So I am creating a second vector which is numeric in nature, right? So I'm writing here, suppose 14.5, 60, 25, 10. And suppose one more. Done. I created a second vector. I want to add V1 and V2, right? So I am storing the results in the new vector named as V, and I am doing V1 plus V2. Pressing Control Enter. You can see these two have been added by the R with the warning. Warning is saying longer object length is not multiple of the shorter object length. It is quite obvious. I can check once I will come here. I'll come here again, or maybe here only, right? I am writing, there is a function called length, and using this function, I pass the name of my vector, pressing Control Enter. It is giving me total 9 values we have stored in the vector 1. Similarly, once I'll perform length on the V2, it is showing me total 5 values are stored in the V2. So that means length of both the vectors is not same. First vector is having 9 elements. Second vector is having only 5 elements, right? And I want to add the shorter length vector into the longer length vector. So what R did, it has added, right? You can see once I will call my V, where I stored the output of V1 plus V2, you can see it has added. But how? That means first value will be added to the first value of this, second will be to the second, third to third, fourth to fourth, fifth to fifth. And then at the sixth position, this will be added, 58 plus 14.5. So it is 72.5. Then 32, 60, 4, 25, 20 and 10. So that way it is trying to meeting out the length of the longer vector. I hope you understood the concept.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Similarly, this was the addition we did. Now,
Ma'am, can you please explain the last thing again?
yes. The length thing you are asking me, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I said there was the first vector V1, second vector we created here, right? Now, I have added both of them, V1 and V2. R has permitted me to add this with the warning. Warning is what? It is saying longer object is not the multiple of the shorter object length. So that means there is a problem of the length of the vectors. So what I did, I have checked the length. So once I have performed the length function on the vector 1, it has returned me the 9. That means we stored total 9 elements in the vector V1. Similarly, in the second vector, we stored 5 elements, right? And we want to add these two vectors. So what R did, it has allowed you to add this, but it has recycled. Means this is known as recycling. So it has recycled the elements of V2 to meet the length of the V1, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means till 49, all the respective values were added of the V2 to the V1, respectively, like 23 to the 14.5, 54 to the 60, and likewise. Then once it is once the cursor will be coming on the 58, so it has not found any element here in the V2. So what R did, it has picked the first figure again. So it is 58 plus 14.5, 32 plus 60, 4 plus 25, and 20 plus 10. So this is known as recycling of the shorter vector to meet the length of the longer vector. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am, clear. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Clear, madam. Clear.
Yeah. Clear. Thank you, sir. So now, similarly, we want to perform subtraction.
Sorry, ma'am. sorry to disturb you. That means in V2, the 27 we should leave it. That means it's not
I'm
taken.
not getting your voice is not that much clear to me.
Madam, just now you explained V1 and V2 we are adding now. And
Yes.
in V1 9 elements and V2 there are 5 elements, and of course the second V2 item adding second time, but in V2 there is a 27 we are not adding. That means not repeating it.
Yeah, it is not, because there is no element, because we are adding V1, we are adding V2 in the V1. So once
Yeah.
V1 will be the last elements, the cursor will be raised to the last element. So that means it is the addition will be ended. It will not search for the next value in this particular V2.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Getting me?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Yes. Now, talking about the subtraction. So suppose I am writing it's V1 minus V2. Right? Again, same problem. So I think concept is clear. And that way you can see the output. Right? I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, talking about the multiplication. So multiplication is also very simpler. The same way we need to write the name of the vectors using the multiply sign. You can write the name of the second vector and this. And then you can get the value of this. Then recycling will always be there because the length of both the objects are not same. Right? Then division. So it is you can call the next. Done. My speed is little maybe faster in typing because I think I'm acquainted with the R. So take your time, perform, and then tell me if you're okay and ready. I'll go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, may I proceed? Everyone fine? May I proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So this way, I think few things I discussed in context to the vector. In R, I'll proceed with the next element or the data structure in R. I'm writing the name. I'll discuss now the list. So list data structure is what? List is heterogeneous. And one-dimensional, right? That means list is a data structure which can store any kind of or any data means it can store the data points or the observation which are having the any kind of type. It can be a character, it can be a logical, it can be numeric, it can be integer, it can be anything. So it can be a mix, means it is a mixture of all kind of data type that you can store. If you want to store all the data points of the similar type, that also is possible. But if you want to store variety of the data types values in a particular object, that is the list, right? And it is one dimension, either in the row wise or in the column wise. You can store the data. Fine, everyone. Anyone is saying something? Someone has raised the hand. So I don't know who is he. Chandrasekharan sir. Sir, you have any doubt?
No, madam. No doubt, madam. I understood. This is
Okay.
one-dimensional. It is
Fine,
one-dimensional.
Actually, thing is this, As I said yesterday, once I have shared my screen, I cannot see anything backside. So if you are having any queries, you can stop me, unmute yourself and tell me. Right. Moving ahead, talking about the list, as I said, this list is a data structure which is heterogeneous, means it can store multiple kind of data points which are having any type, right? So it's a mixing of the elements or the mixing of the variety of the data type elements, right? And it's only one dimensional. It can store data into the one dimension only, either in the this column wise or in the row wise, right? Now, which function or what is the method we can use to create lists? So there is only a function called list, right? Which is in the lower case. So this function you can use to create list in R. We'll see. Suppose I'm creating my first list. I'm giving the name as L1, right? Using the function list. In the brackets, I'm writing, suppose 23, 67.3, then suppose 20L, then suppose ABC, then suppose true, right? Pressing Control Enter, you can see no error I'm getting. It has actually it has easily created in our environment. Now I want to see what I stored in L1. So I am calling it the name, pressing Control Enter, and in the console you can see it is showing me the elements like this, right? So it is not like that we can only store list. It is not like that we can store only the elements like these individual elements. If you want to store a vector or matrix or array, that is also possible to store in the list. So I think array and matrix we have not seen yet, but vector we have seen. So we'll create our next list. In that, I am putting a vector inside the list, right? So suppose using sequence, I have written here 3, 8. Then I have written here suppose 2, right? Then I'm using C function and I'm storing few figures here. And then individual elements also I can put here. Like so, it is also possible in list, right? Pressing Control Enter, you can see it is executed. Now I'm calling my list by the name. It is showing me this is the L, right? I hope you can see, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now we will see next thing, indexing in list. So indexing concept I already explained to you. It is nothing. It is a way of accessing the elements from any particular object. So you need to use the square bracket instead of the round brackets, right? So suppose I'm coming down and I'm writing L1. I need to give the name of my object, and then in the brackets, that is the square brackets, I am giving the position, right? So suppose I have given here 5. Pressing Control Enter, so it is returning me true. That means from the L1, that is list 1, I want to access the 5th element, which is true, right? Now suppose I want to extract multiple elements, so it is also possible. I think in case of vector I haven't discussed that, but in case of vector also you can do the same. So in the bracket, square bracket, inside that you need to use a C function, and suppose I have written here 2, 4. So from a L1 list, I want to access the 2 elements, which is the position of the element is 2nd and the 4th element I want to pick, right? You can see it is giving me the 2nd position element is 67.3 and the 4th position element is ABC. So you can find, right? So you can access, means here you can write for your future reference purpose. accessing second and fourth elements together from list L1, right? And here, what we did, accessing fifth element of list L1. I hope it's clear. Remarks or these comments writing is very useful if we are very new to R or any programming language, because if we are storing and saving these scripts, right? So in future you can take the reference of these scripts, and that way you can understood the concept, you can understand the thing what you have done previously, and that way you can be able to recall those concepts, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Moving ahead.
So, ma'am, now in indexing, let's say I want to find out the elements between 2 to 6 position, but exclude the third position element. So can we code that as well?
Sorry, we want to exclude, we want to include 2
between 2 to 6 positions, but not third position, or let's say not fourth position.
Okay. For that 2 to 6 you said, and we do not want to get
Let's say third or fourth position. Can we also dictate it
Yes,
to exclude some
as you can see,
positions?
sir, that you can do like this. But I think sixth position is not there, right? We are having only 5 elements if I'm talking about elements. So suppose I have written here like 1, 3, 5. So that way 2 and 4 is not included here.
Yes. So what I'm trying to understand is, like, before we did the coding, that
This
gave
is also
elements from
possible.
2 to
If
4.
you can, this is what
So
I did.
can we denote to exclude directly, like minus fourth position, like remove or exclude this position?
As you can see, what I have written here, 1, 3 is to 5 means 1, 3, 4, and 5th element I want to pick. I don't want to pick second element. So it is possible.
Okay, so this way we will have to code it till
Yes.
10 or n number.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Fine, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, talking about the second list, because in the second list we are having the vectors, and if I want to pick something from the vectors which is inside the list, right? So what I can do? So suppose I am writing accessing the suppose second element of vector inside list L2. I think it is this. And I need to check this. No. It is giving me the complete element, no? And this. Yes. Getting me? I need to access firstly the position of my vector. So what I did, I have given that position as in the double square bracket. And then from the second position, I want to pick the second position of this element. Or I think I am changing this. I am writing here third, so that you can easily understand, because second is maybe little difficult to understand, right? So from the vector, which is the second vector I said, from this vector, I want to access the third element, right? So I have written the position of the first element, that is the vector, this one. This is the second vector. From that, I want to select the third element, right? Getting me, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes. Now, if suppose
Ma'am,
I
can you
want to,
please repeat this?
the line number 169.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I said I want to access the third element of the second vector, right? So we know there is a second vector available in a list, right? I know the position of my vector, so I have written here L2 and position for writing the because this is the first element, and from this two I want to extract the third. So I need to put the first element in this double square bracket. So what I did, I have kept here L2, the name of my list, and then from the second position. So second position I have kept in the double square bracket, and from there I want to extract the third element. So I have kept that in a single square bracket, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think I was discussing the next thing. Yes. I want to, suppose I'm writing merging. How you can merge two lists? So for that, suppose I want to create a new list. So you need to only use the function called C. Done. Now you can see in the first list there were total 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. So 5 plus 5, 10 elements are there in the new list. So that way you can check all of them one by one. Right? Visible, I hope, in the console. Right? L3.
Yes, ma'am.
23, 67.3 and up to 30. This way you can merge also the two lists. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Moving ahead. Talking about, I think, indexing and merging we have seen. Now we will talk about the next data structure, which is factor. Fine. So now we will talk about the most important data structure, which is important from the point of view of your data analysis, statistical data analysis, right? Which is factor. Factor is nothing. It is, I think you people are knowing the concept of categorical variable generally in the research. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I think voices are not coming to me. Please confirm me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. One of you has said to me yes. That's great. What about the remaining? Please, friends, say yes or no.
Yes, yes, madam. We are also listening.
There are
Okay.
few people are saying yes. Okay, fine. So if you're knowing the concept, because once we are talking about hypothesis testing, because further once we will progress in this FDP, we will talk about the hypothesis testing also using R. That how you can test any hypothesis in R. So generally we know this thing whenever we are formulating the hypothesis, it is not like we are always having the numeric variables for developing the hypothesis. Sometimes we are having the categorical variables also along with the numeric variable, right? So if I'm talking about categorical variable, so I need to understand this thing. Categorical variable means there are certain categories, right? Suppose I said there is a variable called gender. So we know there are two categories usually, male category and the female category, right? So how such kind of categorical variables you can create in R? So that is, means for that purpose, this factor data structure is available. Using this data structure, we can create a normal qualitative variable into the categorical variable, right? So the function name is nothing, but it's with the name only, it's factor. Using this factor function, we can create a factor vector, right? But before this, I'll tell you one more thing. I'll suppose create a gender vector there using a C function. So I am storing few values here. I will not write the complete male and female. I'm just using the notations as M and F, right? I created a simple character vector because all the values or all the points which are stored inside the gender vector, they are in a single quote or double quote. That means this is nothing but this is a character vector, right? Now, there is a function called is dot character. I am passing the name of my vector. I am asking, is the gender is a character vector, right? Pressing Control Enter. So the answer will be in the form of logical values. It's giving me true. Means gender is nothing but it is a character vector. Now I am checking whether gender is a vector vector or not. Coming as false. No, gender is not a vector vector. Here everyone, it is not
Yes,
a
ma'am.
vector. Now I want to convert gender into the vector. So I'll tell you few of the ways, right? Suppose I am storing the output in the same object, that is gender. I am writing the vector. I am passing the gender. Means whatever gender I have created, whatever gender object I have created here, right? Now I am passing that inside the vector function. So this will convert it into the vector and it will store the results into the gender now. So that means it has replaced, these values are replaced as a vector now. It is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Pressing Control Enter. It is executed. Now we want to see. I have made a mistake. I'm running from here once again because I want to show you the difference. So I'm running 181 again like this, and then I'm typing here the gender so that you can see its output here, which is this. Now I'm running line number 187 again, and now I'm calling gender again. Now you can see the difference. It is quite visible to everyone. Everything, whatever I stored is coming here also in this gender, but with the labels, right? Means it has categorized my data into the labels, into the two categories, into the two groups. That is, there are only two groups, M and F, F or M. Is it clear? So this is known as vector. Now I will check whether this is a vector or not now. It is returning me true that now this particular gender vector which we have created, which we have converted into the vector, once I'm checking it, it is showing me yes, it's true. Now your gender is a vector vector. It is a categorical variable now. Clear everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to tell you one more thing. I think yesterday, because that was very initial, so I have not discussed that. If I want to know something more about any of the functions, right? So there is a very good thing in the R. What you can do, suppose I have written here a question mark, right? I want to know about the vector, suppose. Or maybe suppose the C function, right? I'm pressing Control Enter. You can see in the, there is some problem in my case. You please check. In your case, it is working or not? Working or not?
Yes, ma'am. It is opening a
It is
pane
showing
in the
something here.
help. Yes, in the help
In the
window.
help, yes, it is showing. I think in my case, I need to check. It is showing me error also meanwhile, so that I'll check afterward. Similarly, you can use this REP function, which we have just did today. You can do that also. And you can find variant and variety available in that. So this is the beauty of the R. If you are not understanding or not getting anything regarding any particular function or name, means you are not much understanding a particular function or something, you can write a question mark. This way you can get a help for that particular function, and everything will be generated in this fourth window. You can read it, and that way you can getting clarity about that particular thing. Is it clear? I hope now.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it might come if you remove the small brackets
Sorry.
from the syntax. It might open up if you remove the small brackets from the syntax, ma'am.
Is it like?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I think there is some problem, sir. It is coming again and again. I need to check what is the problem. There is some problem. Because in meanwhile also, when the things were I was running, if anyone has paid attention on my screen, some flashing was coming and showing some error. So I need to check it.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, I am expecting you to check for the factor also. See, this is error coming in my case. Right, so for factor also you can see there are few more things you can use, labels and labels also that you can use. Everyone, it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right. So I need to check. I think today I need to discuss only 3, because I think that it will be more what I can say conflicting if I am discussing so many other things. So I have kept only the 3 types of data structures in R. Tomorrow I'll take the remaining 3, but I need to check. I think I need to discuss one more thing. Is functions I have cleared used today, right? For you people.
Character and is function.
Naming I haven't explained. Naming of the elements, did I?
No, ma'am.
Naming we can see. Okay, fine. Wait a minute. So I'll come to the list again, and then I'm writing naming the elements of list. Right? Now there is a function called names. Using that we can do this.
Madam,
Right?
share the screen.
Sorry.
Please share the screen.
Oh, it is not there. Give me a second. Sorry. In hurry, maybe I have deselected. Okay. Fine. Visible, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll see how we can name the elements of list. Similarly, you can name the elements of vector also. But I think for list, it is more meaningful. So that is why I'm telling you in case of list. So we have created 2 lists previously. The list 1, I am copying here to understand. Just copying this list here. Right. Now, there is a function called names. Inside this, I need to pass the name of my list, and then using a C function, I can give the name to the elements. I know there are total 5 elements. So suppose I am writing vector 1, vector 2, then I'm writing logical value, then character, and then integer. Fine. Pressing Control Enter. No error. I want to call L2. I can call, and this way you can see this time we are clearly getting this is vector 1, vector 2, logical value, character, integer, etc. Done. Clear, everyone?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Done. So this way I'll summarize today's session, and in the WhatsApp group I'll put certain exercises for you that you can solve at your end, right? So that you would be in a position whatever I discussed today you are able to understand them or not. So I'm summarizing the session. Today I talked about data structures. Firstly, we have seen what is the need of data structure. So we came to know this thing. Because if we are having multiple values, so for multiple values, we cannot store directly in any particular object, right? If we want to store multiple values and if we want to mix the data type also of the values, in that case, there is a facility available in R, which is known as the data structure. We have seen there are total 6 types of data structures, but we discussed only the 3 one. Which one we discussed? We have discussed the vector, discussed the list, and the factor. Right? When I talk about the vector, I said vectors are homogeneous and one-dimensional. That means vectors can only store the same kind of data types or same kind of data points, right? And they are stored in any of the one direction, right? We have seen the methods. I explained you there are methods called the C function, sequence, REP, and colon methods. Using them, we have seen creation of the vectors. After that, I discussed the concept of indexing in R, and then we have seen how we can extract or access any element of any vector using the concept of indexing, right? Multiple values also we can extract or access in any particular or from any particular vector, right? Further, I discussed the one more function I discussed in case of a vector, which is class. Class is nothing but it is a way of telling you that what is the data type stored for any particular vector in the RFI, right? Then I explained you the list, which was the second data structure which we discussed. I said this is a heterogeneous in nature, and it is again a one-dimensional kind of data structure, right? We have seen when the term heterogeneous is coming, I think it is quite explanatory. Meaning is very simple. It is list means list is a data structure which can store variety of the data points which are having the different types, right? We have seen the function which we can use to create list is the list only in the small cap, right? And then we have seen we can store even the vectors or matrix or array or even data frames also we can store inside the list. But we have not discussed the remaining 3, that is the array, matrix, and the data frame. So I have not explained you right now, but the storing is very similar the way we have stored here the vectors, right? Then we have seen the concept of indexing in the list. So I explained you how you can access any element of the list. If you want to extract the multiple elements, that is also possible to extract. And then we have seen further that how you can merge the list, and then how you can name the elements of any list. And lastly, I discussed the factor data structure, which I said which is very important from the point of view of research, because it is used to create the categorical variable in research. So in our environment, to create categorical variable, we are using the function called factor function, right? And we have seen how you can create a particular factor vector. I told you, I think I need to tell you one more thing. Just a minute. I said I'll tell you one more thing. So the thing is very simple. Suppose I want to create a vector called, suppose, religion, right? So rather than what, creating a character vector firstly and then converting it into the vector, directly also you can do this, right? And inside this you can write the name, suppose, then it's Muslim, right? Then it's, suppose, Christian, like this. Getting me? This is also possible. Done, everyone? You can see no error you are getting. Once you are calling release it, it will return you the labels also, right? If suppose you want to define your own labels, that is also possible. You can use the label inside this, like this. This is also possible. So whatever labels you want to create here, you can change the sequence here in the this particular label function. So this you need to do using the C function. Right? So this is also possible in this way also, or this way also we can create the vector inside the R environment. I hope you all have got the understanding about this.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Yes, madam.
ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Yes. So now if you're having any queries today what I discussed, you please ask. I'll put the exercises in the group so that you people can practice them, whatever we discussed today. So now the platform is open for question and answer.
Madam, good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Salim from Telangana State.
Hi,
Madam,
sir.
could you tell me, madam, when to use this small bracket and square bracket?
Sir, whenever we are talking about the function, right? In that case, you need to always use the round brackets, right? Say, for example, I said C function. So you are using C and you're using the round bracket. I said factor function. So you are using factor and then you are using the bracket. That is the round bracket, right? But once I said you want to access any elements, means it is from the point of view of indexing. If I want to access, suppose, the fifth element, so in that case, you can use the name of the object and then you can use the square bracket. You give the position of the element and that way you can extract that element from that particular object. So it is known as subsetting also. Subsetting from the vector or subsetting from the list, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
So, in the beginning of research, like while designing the questionnaire, we develop a code book that, let's say, these are my ordinal questions, these are my nominal, these are categorical, correct? So now I have collected the data from the survey. Now, if I have to put it in R, should I again develop a similar code book that this goes as vector, this goes as list, this goes as sequence in the data during analysis in R?
Sir, in upcoming days, I'll let you know, I tell you this thing that how you can import the data, because I know this thing, because this is 3-4 days are very basic type of things we are doing. Once we will coming to the analysis part, using the vectors also, using the data frames also, I'll explain you the means how you can perform various kind of statistical tests using R. And also you can bring the data in the R environment. Means you can import your own data. If you are having Excel file, if you are having CSV file, that you can import in the R environment, and that way you can work on that file. You do not need to create these vectors and all in that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Ma'am, just for practice, can you share the source code today you have run on the R so that we can do it again and try it either in Notepad or any file?
May I copy and paste in the
Yeah,
chat?
yeah, ma'am.
I'm doing. Give me a second. I'm just copying and pasting in the chat. From there, you can copy and paste in your whatever file you want, right, sir?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So it will be the long. So I'm doing one by one.
Ma'am, it will be visible if you copy all and then share in Notepad so that one file can help us. It will be tedious for you to.
I tried to put it in the chat. You can check.
Okay.
You get it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Give me a second. I'll do that also for you. But I think I can share there on WhatsApp group, right? Here it is not. I don't know how to share here in the Google Meet. Zoom Meet I can share, but here I can, because I think the host can share. I'm not the host of the meeting.
Okay. You can share in on the group also.
WhatsApp group, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks
Fine.
from all of us.
Sorry.
Thanks from all of us for this.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Ashish sir. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Ma'am, one question was there in the chat that is the attendance marked or anything?
Usually, sir, RFI is tracking the attendance through the maybe some online way or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Yoga sir, can you answer the question for the attendance? Yoga sir, are you there? Anyone from RFI is there? Hello? Anyone? I think no one is there. But usually they, what I understood till now, sir, usually they are tracking your attendance through these, what I can say, some online sources or something. This is what I understood.
Okay, ma'am. No issues.
Yeah. So I am copy and pasting the things for you in the Word file that I'll share with all of you in the WhatsApp. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, fine. So we are meeting tomorrow now for the discussing remaining 3 data structures, and probably next day we will be talking about the functions and packages, and then we will starting with the analysis part using the R programming. Right, everyone? Thank you so much for listening me and doing along with me the hands-on with the R. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night. We are meeting tomorrow for the discussing further things. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.